2x KO patch notes preview. We knew the patch notes were coming. Yasuo and Ekko got nerfed, and they brought back all of the cosmetic bundles that were in the beta. People who are on console couldn't get these bundles, so then they re-released them so that everybody can scoop them up if you want them, which is cool. But let's talk about the patch notes. They say we're decreasing the power level of the top half of the meta by adjusting overloaded portion of their kits. The most substantial hits were to Ekko and Yasuo, with Ahri and Warwick receiving some smaller adjustments. Core gameplay, assist and point hitboxes will now be closer together during happy birthdays. Assists are pulled in towards the point character on every hit, so their hitboxes get closer and closer together so that it doesn't happen where they like fall out and it gets weird. Frame data cleanup, they say we've cleaned up startup, active, and recovery states across the entire roster. The TLDR is that getting an interrupt or a punish should now be more consistent, and generally it's just like active frames or like startup frames or recovery frames slightly changed for like a bunch of different moves. I don't think it's gonna matter too much. Some other fixes: fix a bug where jump cancel after a launcher track the assist instead of the point champion. This is the second time they've done this, so hopefully it's fixed. Juggernaut fuse, fixed another bug with eject, fix a bug that prevented champions from using Juggernaut from canceling super attacks into each other. Anti-air, fix the collision pills of the following champions when they perform down H. This should make anti-airing more consistent for most of the cast. Hitting an opponent after they perform a freestyle assist now causes the proper 6-second cooldown. Fix the bug with push assist that applied block stun from subsequent attacks incorrectly. I assume this fixed PBGC in like some ways, but we'll have to see. Fix a bug that prevented limit strike from consistently awarding super meter and break meter bonuses on opponent KO. Sometimes you would like kill with a limit strike to try to get the meter, and sometimes you get it, sometimes you wouldn't. These are a bunch of training mode bug fixes as well. So the actual patch notes. They say Ahri is performing well, but not so much that we need to drastically alter her game plan. We're adjusting some of her strongest neutral tools, specifically air, down H, and S1 super. Her health is slightly down. This is a bunch of characters got slightly less health actually. Her 2L is now -2 on block instead of -1. Midair, down H, hurt box is larger, so it's easier to hit or anti-air or whatever. S1 super dissipates when parried. Really nice change. Midair down S1 and block stun has been reduced by 4 frames. You're less likely to lose if she air dashes forward and you try to anti-air or do whatever. And when tagged out, spirit rushes any direction and S2 can no longer be canceled into air S2. This is puppeting, and this gives her most of her really, really long combos. You can do a lot of her long orb super combos without it. Like SKD is going to post some combo that can still work around this and work, but like generally this helps prevent some of the really long combos that she could do with this. Blitz, nothing. This bug right here, the one that I found about Blitzcrank being faster while on Steam. There you go. Love that. Braum, nothing. This character is Thanos, by the way. Caitlyn, she got bug fixes. Midair S1 float no longer changes depending on the side. She had side specific combos because of this. Down S2 would trigger when the opponent was invulnerable. People would roll through it and stuff, and then the trap would go away. Fix a bug where down S2 would force the opponent to face the opposite direction, creating unblockable setups. Fix a bug that allowed Caitlyn to perform assist actions during S1 super landing recovery. Her doing jump, call assist, super, and then tagging immediately was not intentional. She could super tag basically without double down, so a lot of people were doing this constantly. It was very annoying and very good. I think she'll feel a lot better this patch because of some of the nerfs to the other characters as well. Darius got a pretty sizable nerf. Added a gap to forward S2, S2. This is like the only true block string ender he had. I think this was really good. This is definitely the most powerful thing he had on block. But the way you interacted with this character is generally you could push block and make forward S2, S2 whiff anyway, force a whiff punish and then do stuff. I don't know that his block pressure was so good that I think he needed this, but yeah, like I'm surprised that they did this. You now need an assist basically to keep all of his stuff intact. I think they didn't want him to get bleed without using an assist. Midair S2 first hit is mid, so he doesn't get the double overhead. Reducing the accessibility of overheads on Darius, Vi, Warwick, and Yasuo, especially instant overheads that you can't see. Ekko's Oki and neutral presence has been proven to be too strong. We're reducing his Okazemi by making down S2 the roll only invulnerable to projectiles, so he can no longer roll through wake up attack. Reducing duration of S2 super by 1 rewind, and removing the ability to Kara cancel into S2 super whenever Ekko has an after image out. This is what I thought they would do to Lob. Lob into super will no longer work because of this change. This also means that he doesn't get forward throw combos when he has clone out and stuff either. So his throw combo got worse. We've also done a pass on Ekko's hitboxes to bring them more in line with the rest of the cast, particularly on his aerial suite where midair H and S2 took up too much space. You can no longer block after using air hop until animation is complete. Midair M active frames went down. Midair down H hit stun has been increased. Midair H and 2H and S2. And S2 with after image hitboxes have been reduced and their hurtboxes have been adjusted. Midair S2 block stun has been reduced. It's now -6 at best, meaning punishable by lots of characters. Midair S2 and midair charge S2 minimum height has been raised. You can't do instant jump S2 out of jump back. It also means that you can't limit strike at the end of your combos, where they would do air dash, charge air S2, break, instant jump air S2 to get the Laboki. So he's like double nerf. And then his health is lowered. H and 2H hitbox size has been reduced. S1 super now also leaves when parried. And then he got some bug fixes. They nerfed his Oki. They nerfed his mid-range. They nerfed his air approach. They nerfed his health. And they nerfed his super on blocker. Nerfs like every part of his kit. Most of this is stuff that I expected them to nerf. I think like this character will still be pretty good, but these are pretty big nerfs. I think there will be characters better than him in the game now. Illaoi. She got 25 less health. The block launch on 2H and H has been reduced to stop the corner infinite. Otherwise, she just got one bug fix. Jinx got one buff, which is back S2, will now pass through Yasuo's wind wall and into the cut. Teemo got a bunch of bug fixes where he could like infinitely fly. He could remain invisible. The mushroom would double jump and stay in the skybox instead of doing whatever on super. Vi got one important nerf probably. She got a health reduction, right? From 1,000 to 975. Her 2L is now 7 frames, so if she wants her fastest button, she has to hit standing light. S1 hitbox has been reduced, so you can hit her out of her S1 a little bit more. And her midair and charged midair S1 are no longer overheads. I think like 4 Vi players, myself included, use this where you could like JH or like late falling air S1. I'm shocked that they nerfed this actually, but I think their plan was to nerf all unseeable overhead mix-ups from all the other characters, so that this is sort of like an Ahri thing. So yeah, they also fixed this. Warwick. Overhead startup is 1 frame slower and it has a new animation, hopefully to make it more easily identifiable. The height has been decreased, which makes it so they no longer avoids standing normals as easily. And blocks on airborne opponents has been increased, probably to help with that. And yeah, this move just did too much. Other nerfs, Bloodlust runs away faster. He has more of a hurt box during wall cling light. S1 super is now punishable on block more consistently. S1L hitbox size has been decreased and hurtbox has been increased, so it's easier to beat this move up in neutral when he just does like demon flip and he does the dive across the screen. Midair S2 minimum height increased. He can no longer perform midair S2 immediately after jumping to overhead standing opponents. He could like fuzzy you and do this really easily. Instead, they're like, nah, we don't want that. And his forward throw launch distance has been increased, so you can no longer do throw into forward S2 mid-screen. This is possible, but very hard outside of Blood. Also fixed the S1 run bug that he had before. And then the Yasuo nerfs. Reducing the duration of wind wall and wind wall S2 and increasing the cooldown. I think this is like so needed. Like doing wind wall, wait, jump S2, walk back, wind wall plus call assist, wait, jump S2, walk back. Like that could stall the match in a way that like very few characters dealt with effectively. Calm stance hop is too difficult to counterplay. We made a minor adjustment to startup and height to help counterplay, as well as nerfing his aerial normals. And midair jump 2H being an overhead is very hard to counterplay at all but the highest levels. We're removing its overhead properties to allow Yasuo to be focused on cross-up based champions. So Windwall has more cooldown and the duration is a second shorter, and the S2 duration has been reduced from 1.6 seconds to 1.4. The projectile priority has been reduced, so Zap now also goes through, and Windwall S2 hitbox height has been reduced, so the projectile will be easier to jump over if he's doing Windwall into air S2 and just chopping it and stuff. Midair L and H hitbox sizes have been decreased, so they're smaller. Midair J2H is no longer an overhead and you can cancel it on block again. So before, it used to be canceled on block and it was an overhead. And they were like, our bad, we will make this not cancelable on block, but he keeps the overhead. Then they're like, our bad, scratch that, go backwards. You can cancel it on block, but it's not an overhead. They say, we're repositioning Yasuo as a champion that has very strong cross-ups, but a weaker high-low game. Calm stance hop has been increased to be 2 frames slower, but the travel height has been reduced, so he's lower to the ground, and he moves him further forward so that jump L hits around the same time as before. And the hitbox sizes, when you do calm stance midair L and midair H, the hurt boxes are larger. When you do these moves, it should be, in theory, easier to hit him out of it. Calm stance H block stun has been reduced by 2. You can now jump over calm stance H a little bit easier. And they say S1 pushes the opponent further back on hit and block. Increasing S1's pushback on block prevents assists from making contact as easily, and the pushback makes calm stance canceling off this move less oppressive. It depends on like how this looks actually. Like if he's doing like LMH S1 call assist and then he could still stance cross up, then maybe not, but maybe he has to bail out of this earlier, get a little bit more tricky with it. Charge forward S1 now pushes opponent back less on block. This is annoying. that he could like do the cross-up move, you block it, you hit an M button, and he stands cancel backwards and gets away. His forward assist block stun has been reduced by 3. 5M now pushes opponents the same distance regardless of where it hits, and then they did a bug fix on this. Lots of nerfs to Yasuo mix-up and weaker on block. I think this will probably matter the most when he doesn't have an assist up. As a Yasuo player, I'm not a fan of these changes. That's good. That's good. Keep that up. All champions are unlocked when local versus when online, similar to how offline works. Fix several bugs with virtual devices. Team select screen should now assign P1 through 4 based on who hits a button first. A rematch countdown has been added to the post-match screen. When the timer runs out, remaining players can read their mission progress or leave. You can now cancel looking for a lobby when entering the casual or ranked lobby by pressing back. Alternate skin options persist through rematches. Yay! When doing online, if either teammate has unlocked a tutorial logged fuse, it will be available for the entire team to pick, and a bunch of bug fixes, including this one, which I think is probably the one that most people are really excited for. Screen tearing stuff. Fix an issue with like touchpad L3 and R3 not working when playing online. It would like, you could bind it offline and then you play online and it would not work. All this stuff's back in the store. Snow Moon, R8, Crime City, boom. Kali probably in like 3 or 4 weeks is my guess. I have not tried a Kali. I don't know if you guys saw, but like some people went and played Alex or Street Fighter. I also did not go in and play. Every time I like go in and play a character, when I play them after, people are always like, man, you got to play the character early, yada, yada, yada. So when it takes people 5 hours to do the Alex trials and then I do them in 15 minutes, I could be like, listen, man, I didn't play him early. Blame everybody else, okay? Also, you couldn't gameplay capture if you went in. So I was like, what, I'm gonna go play Alex and then go home and be like, guys, Alex is fun. I was like, eh. These two characters, quite a bit weaker, right? I think it's pretty likely other characters are better than them. And I think particularly once Akali comes out, a lot of people who play these two characters will probably try her instead. As far as the other characters go, nothing too substantial besides maybe the Darius change, but this is primarily a nerf patch. It's just like lowering the power level of a bunch of the characters in the game and being like, all right, let's chill a little bit. The big thing about this patch is that I would guess a new nightmare has spawned, in that I think the characters that are gonna end up being really scary on this patch now are Braum and Illaoi, and probably Vi. You guys know I've thought Braum was good for a long time. I already think the character is really egregious to fight unless you have Yasuo on your team. I think next patch it's gonna really suck to fight that character. He's gonna be a real crazy character. And this character is gonna be Thanos. They nerfed Ekko's Oki so much. He probably has a way to cover everything still, in fact, but I don't think he'll have anything nearly as clean and powerful as what he has now. You have to do like the setups where you like whiff jab and then do super and do that kind of stuff. Like that probably would work. We're taking this patch to remove some of the least interactable portions of our game on a champion level. Some champions, aka Ekko and Yasuo, don't have clearly defined strengths and weaknesses, so we're using this patch to continue to carve them out. Our hope is that with this patch, we are in a position where we have reached the appropriate baseline and we can tune around this champion power rather than making significant shifts. We're going to make a sincere, concentrated effort to not impact combos going forward. I wonder what this means, actually, like in the sense that they said that they were going to shorten combos a bit. This may not always be possible, but when we do it, we're going to do it with the intention of helping combo stability rather than hurting combo stability. I.e. Jinx and Caitlyn in particular have instances where pushback or knockbacks or minor reactions are hurting their ability to convert in a meaningful way. Future patches will have buffs for lower and mid-tier champions and maybe some higher tier champions. Okay, there you go. Thank parentheses